All right, we're live.
Sweet.
Yeehaw, baby.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. Yeehaw. Should have wore a cowboy hat.
Yeah. Should have wore a hat. The glare.
Yeah,
I
glare is
like
bad.
it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You can rock that. I don't know if I couldn't pull that off. No.
I've been rocking it for about 30 years, 40 years.
Well, on the picture post, I was trying to find a picture with you with hair, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah. It would have been mid 90s, early 90s, probably. When I was coaching girls basketball.
I didn't have any of those, so.
Yep, it's going to you. Sweet. Jumping on. Come on, baby. I just want to make sure this is all. Because if not, why are we paying $20 a month?
Yeah, I'd tag the page too.
Yep, it's rolling, baby. We got it. We already got TG on. I know that.
Sweet.
I saw him on there. He scooted in already.
Yeah, already.
Oh, they're already jumping on, Coach Grimm.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Let me get set up. You see that in the back. 6-time Super Bowl champions. Not very many organizations have done that, have they, Coach Coy?
No, they haven't.
Except for the Patriots.
Patriots and the Steelers, baby. Yeah. I'm just glad Brady's gone. I'm so glad when he went to the NFC.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was great. Boom.
All right. You want to get rolling?
Yeah, whenever you want. Yeah.
Ready? You ready, Coach Grimm?
Okay. I'm ready to roll, boys.
All right.
Men.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. This is episode number 4. Our special guest is Coach Dave Grimm. For those of you that are coming on live here, make sure that you're liking, following our page. We had, I know Facebook kind of sends it out at weird times, but once you get the invite, make sure you like it. We get more followers and get rolling there. Coach Grimm, to start, why don't you give a little background to kind of where you're at now, how you got there, just a brief background, because we'll get into some of your coaching stuff as we go on, but background of where you're at now, please.
Brief background. Well, I recently retired from Comanche Community School District after 30 some years there and 36 years of education. And I'm just kind of hanging in right now in the south to stay away from the cold weather. But it's pretty warm up there, I'm hearing right now. But my wife and I are enjoying retirement with our Labrador dog.
Got it going on.
What'd
you say the temp is there right now?
Right now it's 68 here.
Ooh.
But it's the sun had obviously gone down like it is where you are. So it was a nice day today. Nice and sunny. It was a good beach day.
Rub it in the face. Just rubbing it in.
Keep rubbing it in, Coach Grimm.
Yeah.
He's so modest.
Been there, done that. Took my turn.
I think I still have like 20 years before I can retire. So
yeah. I got it better than I deserve. My wife did well.
Yeah. You guys definitely earned it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely earned it.
It was all good. It all developed. It makes you who you are in life.
For sure. Your best hire was in 2009, though.
Yeah, I had a little moment there where, no, it wasn't. There may not have been any other applicants. What we're referring to here is that at some point we needed a softball coach when I was the activities director at Comanche Schools back in 2009, and Mr. Jeremy Stendow came on board and helped us out with some softball. I don't even remember. Was it 2 years? 1 year? I don't remember.
Remember, I just did 1. I did the first 2 years football and then baseball and then did softball that second year, I think it was.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was.
I
think in football, I think in football, one of the years I stayed on with you on staff, and then one of the years I decided I just wanted to concentrate on being an AD. I think that might have been 2010, the year that you guys made it state
Yep.
playoffs. Went to
Yep.
Sigourney, lost at Sigourney Kyoto, if I remember right.
Yeah, we did because we were 7-7, and that was the first playoff win in like what 25 years.
Yeah, I think 95 might have been the Comanches' last one,
Okay.
something like that. That was 2010. There's only been, like, Coy, help me, 80, 85, 95, 2010, and then now your run,
Yeah.
20, well, we got
20, 21, 22,
20,
23.
21, 22. Yep. So, yeah,
Dynasty.
I'm not counting though.
he's not counting. It's okay. It's okay. He should count. It's okay to keep track of that.
Mhm.
I mean, one of the questions that you guys asked me beforehand was, what was your record in the girls basketball as a coach? And I had a hard time remembering, so I don't know if it's even accurate because I lost all that stuff and I never really kept track of it. I remember having a little gathering after I got my 100th win with some coaches, but after that, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So it's tough to remember. So if you can keep track of that stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know my win total off the top of my head, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and go through the records, but
Yeah.
I do know we've
Yeah.
been in the playoff 4 years in a row.
Yep.
You know that.
Yeah, there's a dome appearance in there too for you too, Coach.
Yeah. Well, you were a part of that too as the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I was along for the ride. You know that.
No,
We had a
you
good time.
you were a big part of that for sure.
Yeah. That was
Coach
a big
Grimm
group.
was he was a great assistant coach. Just a guy. He was always like a think outside the box type of guy. So we would do some stuff defensively that I wouldn't even think of. And Coach Grimm would come to the meeting and he'd have he's like, I think we need to do this. I'm like, all right, let's do it. It usually worked too. I mean, it did.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously had talented kids that year too.
Yeah. That was
but like, I think of like the Monticello game plan where he took our outside linebacker and put both our outside linebackers on the same side on trips so they could man up. And then I was kind of like,
I like that.
know. Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that because then I was worried that we didn't have enough guys on the other side, but we did it and it worked.
Balance.
So, yeah,
it did it. It worked. Sometimes you can scheme and come up. I mean, plenty of high school coaches come up with things like that. Think outside the box. Come up with something a little different. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. You look kind of foolish, but you got to be willing to take a risk once in a while. You don't have the horses just to keep doing the same thing over and over, and you're going to out physical somebody, all the time. I mean, it's good to take some chances. I think at least it was in our situation at our school, Comanche, the years I was there, and I would think most schools our size, the coaches would probably have some of the similar philosophies. They're not always going to outman people. Hey, we're going to just be able to do this and continue to beat you and up front and outman you, and then we'll be fine. Got to think outside the box for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that, and I think I can't remember if it was Coach Lower or Coach Allen when we talked about it, but the amount of film you get on a team too nowadays. So you gotta switch it up every once in a while. Throw a curveball here and there. So
yeah,
sure.
You have to. I mean, you guys that are the offensive guys out there, and they're always scheming something. Add every week, every offensive coach adds 2, 3, 4 plays. They just keep building. That's a pretty normal tendency. So it's like, you got to keep trying different things. You don't want to get that tendency so they have an idea of every little thing you're going to do. So no, it was good time. Most folks out there that think your high school coaches aren't really doing much in terms of scouting and looking at film, don't understand the time that you coaches put in. They're watching tape, and watching tape is an old school term, but you're watching huddle. That's a thing now. And you've got probably 3 or 4 screens, 5 screens going at once. Maybe you got it's a Sunday afternoon and you got the pro game on, maybe, but then you've got all the other different teams and who played against whom, and you're looking for tendencies. So a lot of work that's put in by a lot of people.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure.
100%. All right. Well, we're going to get into a little debate. I don't know how much of a debate this will be between us three, because I think we all three will be on the same page, but I might be able to throw some things in here. But obviously a common sports debate is who's the greatest basketball player of all time. And it a lot of times comes down to either Michael Jordan or LeBron James. So we are going to debate who we think is, between those two, the greatest basketball player of all time. We will let Coach Grimm go first, and you tell us your thoughts on the LeBron and Jordan debate.
It's tough because when you go through the debate, if you look at just the championships alone, you go Jordan.
Right.
And I'm a Jordan guy. I mean, that was my era. I mean, I saw Jordan play at the old Chicago Bulls Stadium live when I was a young teacher, just beginning back in the late 80s when he first came to Chicago. So I've always been a Jordan believer. But lately, with LeBron's longevity, you could see, he's done such a long time, so many great things. It's a toss-up. I mean, I still, after when I look at the way things are going, LeBron's done some really nice things. I used to be, no, it's Jordan. I've swayed a little bit towards LeBron, but if I got pushed in the corner, I'd say Jordan. And when they released The Last Dance, and that went on, it was shown during COVID. That was smart by Michael Jordan to say, hey people, I know some of you people don't know much about me, and I want you to see what I did in my day. And so I'd have to go with Jordan, just based on championships alone.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to go, Coach Coy, or do you want me?
No, you go ahead.
I'm with you. I mean, obviously, you compare the eras, two completely different eras. But I mean, if you talk about championships, we can say that Jordan obviously has that 6 for 6. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever done back-to-back three-peats. But I think, like, regardless of what LeBron's done longevity-wise, he's a facilitator. He's not a guard, really. He plays the perimeter pretty much. But Jordan was just a stone cold killer. Like LeBron, Stephen A. Smith always says this. Jordan was feared by everybody that he played against. I don't think LeBron is feared. I don't think people fear him on the court. Jordan did it every single night, like every night. That's what he dropped 30, 40 points. And on top of it, look at like what he did defensively. I think he was like first team all defense team like 10 times. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, he was the best defender and the best scorer for so long. So, I mean, I think what LeBron's done is remarkable for longevity. But if I was going to have to take somebody, the stone cold killer, the last shot, if you've seen both eras, I can see the kids now, 95 and above, they're going to say LeBron because they never saw Jordan play. But we've all seen both of them play. I don't think it's much of a debate when it's like, you want to win a championship and do you want to win? Jordan, how is there a debate?
Yeah. The other thing about that, I'll add on to that just a little bit before you go, Coy. The game has changed so much, as we know, but that game back in the late 80s and the 90s, I mean, they had the Jordan rules.
Yeah.
And basically he would come in the lane and they were taking him out. You hanging on him, pushing, shoving. They were hitting him hard every time. I mean, it was on purpose. And it was just the beating he took, but yet he found ways to score. Yeah. And back to what you were talking about, the game is on the line. He hit the shot. Everybody knew he was going to take the shot. He took the shot. He made it.
didn't matter. It's like you knew he's getting the ball, and he's gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't think LeBron. I don't think he's ever really had the. He's a great facilitator. I guess
Yeah.
maybe he's been able to do that because he doesn't have to drop 40 points a game and be the top scorer. But if you put Jordan in this era, like, would you guys think this is another factor with the different eras? Imagine if Jordan played today with how different is defensively. Come on. The guy, every shot he took in his era was contested. There were not any shots to Jordan, and on top, he could play the post better than post players. Put him in today's era, and you say, give Jordan a jumper wide open. How is he not dropping 50 a game?
Yeah. I think he would average high 40s. His scoring average would be high 40s
Absolutely.
in today's game. Again, the 3-point shot wasn't as crazy as it is nowadays. That's a big difference as well. Everybody shoots a three. 5 guys on the floor shoot the three. Back then, there was specialists like the guy coaching for Golden State, Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr,
Another guy named John Paxson. Those guys were just 3-point shooters. That was their role. So it's tough when you got to start going era to era. It really is tough.
Yeah.
Would that Bulls team be better than the Golden State team? People have done that in comparison, and it's just tough. I don't know who. It's a different game. It's a different game. In the game, it should be changing. Always, whether we're talking basketball or football, they all should be changing. They're always trying to make it better.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page with you guys, which I kind of thought I would be. I would pick Jordan in the Jordan LeBron debate. Obviously Jordan averaged 30 points a game. I don't think anybody's ever. I think he's averaged the most points ever, scoring average through a career. Yeah. I wrote some stats down here too, and Jordan had won the scoring title 10 times. I think LeBron did it maybe 2 or 3, or has done it 2 or 3 times. And I know scoring is not everything with basketball. LeBron does a great job, like you said, Stenda, facilitating and getting other guys involved. But Jordan, I think he averaged 5 assists a game, so it's not like he wasn't giving the ball up or things like that too. But the longevity thing also. So I always look like Jordan, I don't remember him ever like sitting out a game, like when growing up watching him. And nowadays in the NBA, they have this BS load management stuff. And this guy, he can't play a back-to-back, why not? Why can't you play a back-to-back? I don't know. That never happened in the late 80s, 90s NBA. I didn't think. I think there was only like 3 times that Jordan didn't play a full 82 games in a season in his career. So, and I know LeBron's missed like 150 some games in the last 5 years or something like that. So that's part of why he's been able to play so long too, because they're sending him out, load management and all that. But I'm taking Jordan. If, like you said, game's on the line, I want him taking the shot. The whole era thing, comparing eras is tough too, I know, but defenses were way better back then. Now we have, look how many like guys are scoring 60 plus points. It seems like every night right now in the NBA. Like, I don't know. And I'm not watching a ton of NBA right now, but I'm seeing highlights and scores and stuff. And it's just, that never happened in the 90s where you'd have, Embiid scored 60 some, then the next day Luka scored 73, it didn't happen, just, I think defenses are not as good either. So I'm Jordan all
they
the way.
put up like how many games you see 130 to 145.
Oh yeah.
I get now it's all geared towards offense, kind of like the NFL. They want points. But like I said, take Jordan and those guys, put LeBron in Jordan's era as far as how aggressive they were defensively. Yeah, LeBron is a powerhouse. He's a freak of nature. But could he, number one, sustain the longevity? And then could he do what he does now, those guys being so physical? I don't know if he probably could, but he's not playing 22 years. And I don't think he does the same things that he's doing now.
Yeah, to the general person, when we're talking about rule changes, back in that era, you could do what's called a hand check.
Right.
You could put your hand on somebody, and it was happening all the time. Nowadays, one general, you can't do that. You touch anybody, and that's a foul.
Yeah.
So that's just one rule that we're referring to here when we say things have changed. So it's just tough to go. I mean, LeBron I think would do fine in that era, just as big and
Yeah.
strong as he was. But would he last as long? Who knows? And like I said, the load management you brought up, quite that that wasn't a thing then. So if he probably wouldn't have done it at that point. It just wasn't a thing like it is nowadays. But I have a hard time with that. But then it's a business. They're looking after themselves. They want, this everything we talk about with sports. It's a business at that level. They're making decisions based on business decisions. This is my livelihood, people, and that's what it is nowadays. We want to think of it. Oh, they're playing the game that they love. Yeah, they're playing the game they love, but it's a business.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
All right. Coach Graham, we got some questions we're going to throw at you real quick here.
All right.
So I know at the beginning you said you don't remember your record and all that, but we have that you were head girls coach at Comanche High School. You're 150 and 90, two state tournament appearances, one semifinal, no consolation game. Correct? Is that right? Back then,
they don't have that.
Yeah. And you were a boys varsity assistant coach for 10 years and went to 3 state tournaments with the boys. So you have coached both girls and boys. What would you say would be the biggest difference between coaching girls and boys as far as the basketball goes? If there is something that sticks out.
I try not to, when I was coaching, I try not to think of it that way, like a difference. You're just coaching basketball and you're trying to develop a team, try to develop a coach culture, just trying to teach fundamental skills. And then within the team concept and individually work on everybody's skills. Obviously, you don't have some of the high flying things that you do the boys game or the girls game with some of it, and you're not playing above the rim too much. But there's still some high flying in terms of very athletic things that ladies do on the court. So, I don't like to look at it as girls game, boys game. I know there's a difference, but you're just teaching basketball. And that's how I try to look at it. They're very similar styles in terms of how I did things. And when I was a boys coach at the end, I was an assistant, so I had a little different role. Some of the ladies that I had, I was much more intense at that time. So, the old school good cop, bad cop joke, with coaches, I was probably, I was pretty firm. And if you were bring on some of those people, they would play. He was, getting after it. When I was an assistant, the boys didn't have to do that as much. I could always kind of yuck it up with them, so I had a different role. But it's basketball. You're trying to teach the game, get them to play hard and have some fun. That was a big thing I used to say: play hard, have fun. Play hard, have fun.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Or it's an answer.
No, it is. It is. I mean, I agree. You can't. I know there's a lot of people out there that are, like girls can't do what boys can do or whatever, but it is the same sport. So you just teach it, the fundamentals that you want to teach, the system you want to teach, and go from there.
I will say this, through the years, and this had nothing to do with basketball, but boy, the girls used to give pretty good presents to coaches. You know what I mean? They were always thoughtful as can be. Not to say the boys were terrible, but the girls are just thoughtful as can be.
Yeah.
Just thoughtful. And maybe that's something between the guys and the girls. But now when I see some of the ladies and when we talk about the past, a lot of the conversations, it's quick about basketball. It's more about their life, them being a spouse or being a mom and their kids, and they'll reminisce a little bit. But then if I see some of the guys, most of the conversations are that during that high school moment. You know, they're telling all. They have details more so. Like the ladies, I think have kind of moved on and went
Yeah.
on with life. The guys are still talking about what we did back in that time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Reliving the glory days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an old Bruce Springsteen song called "Glory Days."
Mhm.
I always think of that.
That's a great song.
He could throw the speedball by you and make you look like a fool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sing out there, everybody. You're good.
You should though. We'll do a karaoke segment.
Nah.
No, we'll lose all our live
Yeah.
listeners. If
Yeah.
we do that.
Yeah, they'll be gone.
All right. You
We
never
don't wanna do
know.
that.
Try it sometime.
Another question, quick, Coach Grimm. Give you one more question, and then we'll go on another talk here. So you were an assistant football coach. We mentioned that a little bit. You did that at some capacity for 30 years. So you middle school, JV, varsity assistant, pretty much every level you can coach, right?
Yep.
So you had football, coach basketball. Did you coach any other sports?
I did a little middle school track back in the
Okay.
day, and also was a varsity golf coach for
Okay.
the Comanche boys. We got that going. Did that for a while. And my wife is talking in the background. I took 1 year as a varsity volleyball assistant
Oh, nice.
because the guy who was a varsity coach, I needed an assistant. So I agreed to be his assistant, and he was going to be my assistant
Nice.
during a season.
All right.
Back
So
in,
of those sports, which sport was your favorite to coach?
boy, there
You gotta pick one.
favorite. It's tough to pick a favorite because
Yeah.
I always kind of live my life through the seasons. I'm into each season as it's going on. Kind of live in the moment of that day of that season, and they're all great as I'm going through them, whatever it is. Um, and it's tough. Football and basketball are up there. The only thing that got me about football, and you guys, you'll know this, Quake. I'm not very good with the weather, and I always got cold. And
Yeah.
you'd see me, and I'd be bundled up like crazy. I'm a little soft, people, that way.
Right.
So the weather elements, I didn't like that at practice. Where I knew in basketball, this is what you get, for practice. But some of the football, and as you guys all know, our football field, we have practices down in Comanche. You got the sandburrs, and you got not a lot of grass, and you got when it rains, it's pretty nasty down there, and we didn't have that great of practice facilities, and so it made it pretty difficult that way. So I got a little crabby sometimes with football. Your shoes after practice, you come up and every sock you'd have dirt that would go up to your knees from being in the trenches, if you will. So that kind of got me turned off a little bit. So probably if I had to pick, probably basketball,
Okay.
just because of the weather. But
Yeah.
I like football because I could concentrate on just one aspect of it, in terms of defense or offense, if whatever my role was, that was nice. So towards the end of it, that was nice. But if I dig deep into my heart, I was probably a basketball guy. Just the five people. I was used to talk about this. The five people are a bunch of individuals, all five of them. But if you put them together as one, then you're much more powerful people, the five of you.
Right.
So I just that concept, but you do it with football. Football is the ultimate team sport. There's just so many components, and so many people can have whatever role they have for that team. And basketball, it's tough to get your 5, 6, 7 players on the team. If you got 15 out or whatever it is, it's tough to keep everybody happy. It's one of the more difficult coaches or sports to coach because of that. Where football, you can play defensive line, offensive line. You're a specialist with special teams. You're a kicker. You're a punter. There's the variety of places you can play, so you can keep people happy throughout the high school years with that. But probably it's a close, probably basketball just by a little bit.
All right. Yeah, Coach Graham. Back to the weather thing, real quick. Coach Graham was
The softie.
he was always the first person to see lightning. Like, no one else saw lightning in the. Like, oh, I saw lightning in Davenport. We gotta get in. Let's go.
Yeah.
We got to get
Oh,
him.
no.
Jeez, Coach Graham. Let's pump
Yeah.
the brakes a little bit.
That
But
that always came back to from my AD days. I just
Yeah.
would, just always about that. Like, I've seen some situations where people keep on playing, and and I'm just shaking my head, going, "Come on, what are we doing here? It's a game. If something goes wrong, and it's just you don't want that on you. You just it doesn't happen very often. But boy, if it did, why take a chance? So I was
you
always safe that way.
don't want that on your watch.
Man.
No.
You remember Coach Grimm? You remember Lee Camp from Clinton?
Oh, for sure.
So when I had him, he was, head coach my senior year. So that guy, and I think this is true. He's been struck by lightning twice, I think.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know that.
We were always told that. I don't know if that was true or not, but we had several times on Westfield when we practiced senior year. And I remember 2 times where there was lightning and that guy was gone. There was, out of the 6 assistants, that guy, he was gone and he was running through Westfield to the parking
Yep.
lot. And we were still on the practice field. And they're like, no, there's lightning. We got to go in. And he was gone.
Gone. Yep. Well, if you've been struck twice, I'd be gone too. Holy cow. You
I
talk
don't know
about
if it's true or not, but that's what we were always told. I don't know if that's, I don't know. I don't know.
It seems like when I'm out there, lightning's always behind me. I don't ever see it for some reason.
You never, yeah. We had some moments there. We did have a good one. I'm telling a story about that windstorm that came through. It became basically a sandstorm. We had one coming, and I talked you into going, and I don't remember what group that was, but 2020, 2021, somewhere around in there.
21, yeah.
Yeah, and it was one where it was so windy, and we have construction going on at the time, and a bunch of sand was up there. It seriously was coming across that parking lot, and we were hiding behind buildings and cars because you felt like you're being sandblasted. That's how strong the wind was. Just crazy. We were all thankful that we got in that day.
And we timed that perfectly because of you. You're like, we got to get in. It's going to hit us. And I'm like, all right.
We're going.
As soon as we got up by the school, it was going crazy. So
it was nuts.
You were right. Yeah.
It was a nutty one. But no, I was one that when it got cold, I was putting on all kinds of layers. And at the end of my coaching, part of the reason I wanted to coach up in the box is I knew it was warmer up in the box.
Yeah.
So I was calling defensive plays up in the box.
Gotta keep that bald head warm.
Yep. Always have a hat on.
All right. Before we move on, we got some comments rolling in. We'll catch up on here on the side. Brian Hamilton, Steelers suck. We all know that. Mrs. Graham coming in with the line I went in. That's good. Yep. Zach Hudson, 1 MJ, 2 Kobe, and then LeBum. So he's obviously not a LeBron guy.
He's not, no.
Tony, Jason Stinda is a bad cop or is bad cop.
Oh.
And then Taylor Graham says,
bad cop. I saw that code.
Yeah. Taylor Graham.
Okay.
He said that Coach Graham, he said that you neglected to buy him a snowblower the entire life. You love the cold and snow.
No, and he knows that I love to put them to work.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, we're gonna go out and push snow. Let's go make some snowmen along the way and snow floors.
Well, you got 3 boys. You might as well.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's just probably referring to this past snowstorm he had. He had to remove some of it when he got off duty, and it was probably a 20-some inch of snow. It probably wasn't much fun to push that snow by yourself.
Yeah.
So I think he finally decided to get a snowblower.
Nice. Then a couple, Brandon Dierks, ILL, INI. Yeah, that's good stuff. And then Ben Irwin chiming in here. He says, "Miss coaching with you guys. Had a blast." So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we had
great
fun
time.
with Ben too.
You guys coached that guy, huh?
Yeah,
we coached
Benny.
Yeah.
Big Ben. He's a basketball player.
Oh, he was back in his Ashford days. You betcha. In his college, high school days. I didn't know much about him because I wasn't paying attention to Ashford at the time.
Yep.
But I heard all kinds of good stories. And then he came along and helped coach when his kids were going through, and Big Z and Kyle, and a lot of knowledge he brought to those kids. And Zach is playing at Kirkwood now and having a little setback with some injury, but now he's back to playing. And I've watched a couple of his games down here, and when I'm down in Florida, basically. And he's doing a nice job at that level. And he's basically a freshman, I think, status-wise, and he probably would be a junior, but with the injury. So good for him.
I think Ben, like he played 2 years at Ashford, but I'm pretty sure he maybe Cash Bim had the scoring record. He was pretty close. Ben was, I think, to getting it, but Cash played 4 years there, and I think Ben only played 2.
Wow.
So that would be a matchup I would like to see in their prime. Cash and
Oh,
Ben, 'cause they're
yeah.
both big guys. I think Ben could shoot.
Yeah, he could.
I mean, he's a baller. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to inflate Ben's head.
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. You're saying all this, and if Ben's watching right now, I'm
I think
going,
he
he's
is.
like,
He's still commenting.
ooh. Yeah, he used to be, whenever when we would be playing or having a practice, he would be the other opponent's best player. So
Yeah.
he would get to stimulate whomever it was, and he was always having fun teaching the young high schoolers a lesson as a high school coach.
Coach Grimm, though, and I would be the same boat, but only a couple of trips down the floor, though, and then you had to take a break.
Yeah.
It wasn't like back in the day when we could go for a
No.
couple trips. Okay,
Yeah.
whistle. I need a sub.
Yeah. Get me out. Yeah, I need water. I need oxygen mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we had a good run. It was nice, and a lot of that, I will say, a lot of that, those kids, Ben had a lot to do with Chad Dalzell, when some of those kids in that era, they were young. They did a lot of youth coaching, and I know that's been a topic on your previous podcast with other people about having everybody on the same page and having a youth program to help develop. And those guys did a tremendous job by the time that they got into middle school, high school at Comanche, and obviously gave them a great foundation. And we as high school coaches just built upon that. But they did a lot of the legwork the groundwork when they were young. So kudos to those guys.
Yeah. You Ben, Chad, Sean Lauren. I mean, a bunch
Yeah,
of Whitey Caesar. I mean,
Whitey Caesar.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
That's great.
that basketball run there, and if Coach Davis was on, he would probably be echoing some of the same things I'm saying. Those dads, and they helped tremendously.
And then we're gonna get to one more comment here. Cam Sinkson says, "No better way to end a Sunday night." I was just talking to. I don't remember. I saw Cam last Saturday at a benefit. Yeah, he's doing well.
Good for him.
But I can't remember. I was just talking to. I don't even remember who I was talking to, but they're asking me about Cam Sinkson. We were talking about him playing basketball, and they're like, gosh, he's like, he'd step in the gym and he's just ready to shoot. I'm like, yeah, he could shoot from distance. And I always remember there was always some shots where you're like, no, Cam, and then it goes in. You're like, all right, well, that's fine, let it go. But
I got to deal with that one. Yeah.
That dude, if he made his first shot, it was lights out.
Look out.
Man.
Look out. He made his first shot. We just let him go.
Yep.
and nobody would stop. I mean, he was a freshman and he made the all-tournament team in 2A tournament as a freshman. I mean, that's
impressive.
Yeah. He was one of those. Now, he would say he's probably the best shooter of the family, but then you got his brother Dakota who would be arguing, and then you got his brother Cody. So they I'm sure, and then there's Brady in there as well, so I'm sure there's some family fun times as to who the better shooter, better ball is.
That'd be a good debate, honestly.
Yeah, the boys, there was fun interacting with them as they were going through school, and then now as they become young men, fun finding out what they're doing. Oh yeah.
I remember,
know.
he would have been there when my first year would have been his last year. And yeah, I mean, him and Roth, I think it was him and Roth
Yeah.
Roth was
Mhm.
good, but Cody, he
Yeah,
was the same
Roth.
way. Man, he
Yeah,
could just
Michael
light it
Stellans.
up.
Yeah, I think Cody was Coach Davis's first year, maybe when he was a junior, I believe. I'm not sure on
Yeah, I
that,
think
but one of his
yeah,
one of his
that's
first years of being on staff with Cody was either junior or senior.
I think he
So
was a junior or senior because my first year was 09 and that was Davis's first year. So Cody would have been a senior and then Brady was a junior.
junior.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Mink said that. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Coach
All right.
Meek,
Yeah,
Cody, and T were
Coach Mick.
seniors.
Yeah,
And
there's
another guy,
another one.
Coach Meek. Yeah,
Another
Coach.
one had a lot of fun coaching with him as well.
Yeah,
Coach
Meek.
Mink now down at Bettendorf doing some good things down there in his tennis program. So we have a lot of good memories with a lot of people, and that's the best part of all this is you go through it, and you guys are going through it as well. And yeah, a lot of memories with the people, whether they're the actual students or your athletes, or whether they're the referees, whether they're the coaches, whether the other coaches, whether their parents. You just a lot of good memories, have a lot of fun. That's why we all do this, just to have fun. I mean, we all had fun when we were young doing this, playing. Somebody had impacted us and said, "Hey, you do this pretty well. Why don't you work really hard?" And then next thing you know, you get through and you can't play anymore. So how do you stay around something fun that you like? You go into teaching, coaching,
yep.
and
Yeah.
you have fun and try to pass things on to other people, and hopefully they have learned some things, and now they're going to do the same thing. Hopefully, the other people, and you have fun along the way and make some good memories.
For sure. I mean, that's pretty 100% why I got into PE and coaching.
Yeah,
I wanted to keep coaching and be a part of it. So
yeah.
glad I made that choice for sure. All right, so we're gonna dive into some topics here, Coach Graham. First one, I don't know if you listened last week or not, but Big Ben 7 over there, he got into saying the NFL is rigged. Please tell me you don't think the NFL is rigged.
The NFL is not rigged.
Yeah.
I just, when you were saying that last week, I was about ready to just start typing all kinds of things in there, but I'm just like, this is their livelihood. You think that these people are throwing this money away? You think that they don't care about things? They're just going to rig it because you think that they're getting money from somebody? Are they getting because of gambling? Is that where you're going with that?
So I should maybe recant. I didn't use the right wording. I say rigged. I say manipulated. I think it is I should have said it's manipulated by
rigged.
officiating and Vegas. I don't think, and I said a script. I think that are they going to come in there every day and say, here's a script and you follow it? I think between officiating, the NFL ownership and command staff up there with Roger Goodell and Vegas, you can't tell me. Look at basketball's been rigged. We've had officiating. We had referees went to prison and I think it's kind of like this, you think like the government, we would say the government's, rigged, they're corrupt. You can't tell me in this billion-dollar industry, there's not manipulation there. Something that I don't see how it's not. You got guys that come out and Coach Coit made a good point about, I brought up last week, some old timers that came out and said, hey, we had the script. We knew what every play they were going to run in the Super Bowl. And he said, well, they're doing that to put their name out there now. But what did they honestly really gain from that? You're not going to make any money 20 years later saying, yeah, I had 2 interceptions. I returned 2 for pick sixes. It never happened. We won the Super Bowl. Now, 22 years later, I'm going to come out and say, we knew every play that they were running before it even happened. So, why do you say that? What do they honestly gain from that? What do you guys, both of you, what do you think? Are they going to be getting paid a bunch of money now from someone because they went on record 22 years later and said, dude, we knew every play that they were going to run. It's not decided by the players.
I don't.
You want to go there? You go first.
I don't think they are coming out 20 years later because to try to make more money. I just think that those guys that are, the that one guy from the Bucks that you sent me that was it Dwight Smith?
Yeah,
Is that
Dwight
who it
Smith.
was?
Yeah.
I didn't even remember who that was. And then now he's 20 years later saying that. So now he's trying to get back in the conversation of being relevant. You know what I mean? Like
I can see
20
that.
years from now, I'm gonna know. I know like Tom Brady won 7 Super Bowls. You know, I'm gonna know that. I don't have to like look him up to see what he did. You know what I mean? So I think part of it is they're just trying to, you know, get relevant again, and not necessarily for the money. But I just don't know how you can script it and make it
Yeah.
rigged. I get the little manipulation part maybe, but I don't think it's rigged or scripted or whatnot.
I mean, look at me. That game's in the Ravens Chiefs games, and that game in the champion. I mean, how many calls there they didn't even. Dude, the Chiefs, Travis Kelce with the taunting several times, watched it happen right in front of him, didn't even throw a flag, nothing. As soon as
They always catch
Baltimore
the
did
second guy.
dude, get out of here, man.
It happens in high school. That's the way it is, man.
Yeah, you're right, and you can
But-
say
but
that's what
Kelce-
officiating is, but you can't tell me that doesn't have to play a part in play of that game's a 17-10 game. They could have. I don't know. I think there's. I don't know. It is what it is.
Now, if you think it's rigged, or you think people are like purposely, you think referees aren't making calls, right? That's what you're saying. They're looking the other way because they're getting paid. You think?
I
That's
think
something?
there's probably manipulation there between the referees in Vegas. Absolutely, with the spreads. The
Now,
spreads are
now-
huge.
Don't you think with technology the way it is now, that if somebody was doing something like that, that we would be able to, law enforcement wise, we'll be able to figure this out? Because we all know about what has happened in our state with gambling, with
Yeah.
athletes. So you don't think you'd be able to figure it out in the NFL?
I
That
mean-
if somebody's doing something to get a little something from Vegas wise, and law enforcement would have figured that out?
They could if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean,
you think law enforcement's involved in too?
I think if you
law
look at
enforcement
every level-
cares that Chiefs won and Ravens don't win. I mean, this is the livelihood. These people have put their blood and soul and heart into getting to where they are in the NFL. And you think everybody's just going to go by a script? They're competitive. They're more competitive than the three of us put together, these NFL people. They're not going to just, let's give in and go to this. Now, has there been some incidents where this has happened? Yes, there have been, and people have been caught, right? When you referred to the referee, I forgot what his name was, Tim something.
Tim
I
Donahue,
can't
I
remember.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that going out, but he got caught. So I just think they just care too much about it to be, oh yeah, we're going to follow script. Are there bad calls? There's bad calls. You got to learn. You've learned when you were a little kid. Your coaches have told you, it's going to be bad calls. Don't put yourself in a position where the call is going to be determining the outcome of the game. Let's take care of things beforehand, so it doesn't come down to a 50-50 call by an official, because they're human. They're going to make mistakes. Everybody does. And like back to that Kelce reference, Kelce was sly about how he was doing things. All those Ravens guys, they show that the old saying, "Act like you've been there before." Those guys, the Ravens, in my opinion, didn't act like they'd been in a championship game. Some of those younger guys, and they got burned by it. I mean, think of the penalties they had. I mean, some of their big time guys, But Kelce was just sly about it. Yeah, he's probably getting away with some stuff, but the second man type thing. But he was just sly about it, and he didn't get caught. Was it something that could have been called? Yeah, but it didn't.
You don't think they saw it? You think they're just like, oh, we never saw it. You think he's too slick for him, huh?
He was slick, and then the headbutt one. He had Kyle Van Noy, he's an expatriate, if I remember
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
And
he was
he comes in, and because he sees what is going on, and he comes in and gives the big old headbutt, and that's the second guy getting caught. And it's like, what the heck are you doing? You should know better than that. You should be disciplined enough not to do something like that. But nope, he comes in and headbutts him, and then the smirk on Kelce's face. He like, I got to him. I got under his skin. I got him going. It was like he's playing a little game with people. He was a puppet master.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big Kelce fan. I
Right.
just watching and observing. I don't really have a team that I like the Ravens. I like the Chiefs. I just like watching good competitive games nowadays.
I
So I'm
like
gonna
hearing
have to-
everybody's opinion.
Yeah, I know. Well, as the old saying goes, we have to agree to disagree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
not going to like fight with it. I mean, I would never fight with him.
Oh, yeah.
Again. I mean, there's just going to be, there's probably things on here that all three of us would probably be like, we have three different opinions. And like you said, I think that's probably hard now for people to think about like what we're doing. Like a lot of people can't do what we're doing right now because they can't literally have a civil conversation. Me saying that, and I might be saying that to just get people going, but at a point, like me and Coach Coit have talked before, I'm like, you kind of want to stir the pot, but also show like, okay, it can still have a civil convo. People look at Facebook. People can't even, they go on Facebook and they delete people and delete family members out of their lives because they believe or don't believe something. It's like, well, you can all have your own belief. You might think it's stupid, but again, it's just an opinion. It doesn't really mean anything.
Well, sometimes in society, there's people, this is my opinion, the ability to sit and talk face to face is getting lost a little bit, because
Absolutely.
people in households are just sitting looking at their phones, and it happens even in our schools, people sitting at the lunch tables instead of just chatting with each other, youngsters, and looking at each other, they're texting things across the board as they're sitting around the table. So that's kind of becoming lost out art that, in my opinion, needs to be, we need to be able to have conversations and realize there's different sides to a lot of stories and different sides, and everybody has different opinions, and you may have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
100%.
So,
yeah.
But
speaking of Travis Kelce, what are your thoughts on the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift whole story, Coach Graham?
Well, I told you earlier, I'm a softie. I think they're both in love.
You're not a Swiftie. You're just
I'm a softie. I'm a softie. I think they're just both in love, and it's kind of interesting to watch them go. And try to have a relationship in the public like that. Holy cow!
Yeah, especially
I don't care one way or the other. It doesn't. People are freaking out because she's at football games. I could care less. I'm sure if I had young daughters, or granddaughters, that all of a sudden were Swiftie fans and they're watching football games with me as a dad or a grandpa, I'd be like, "Oh, this is the greatest thing ever," because they like watching football now because they're waiting to see her. So what harm in that? I don't care. It's not like she has any control over how many times the camera goes on her.
Right.
That's not her, decision. She's just there supporting her man.
She's made the NFL like $330 million by being on a telecast for 24 total seconds. So yeah,
for sure, it is a business. We got to remember that.
Yep, that's what Zach Hudson said there. He said NFL is definitely a business. In the comment, it's a business, not a sport. So
yep,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's my thought. Do you guys have thoughts on the Swiftie situation at all?
I don't know. Stenda might. I don't know.
You don't, Coach Coy?
I'll let you go. It's
No,
fine.
you go. You go. No,
I'm kind of. I mean,
I already talked about the NFL rigged or manipulation. I want to hear.
I think. I mean, I get. Yeah, like she's one of the most famous people in the world, obviously, and he obviously is pretty famous too. He's an NFL player. He's got one of the highest watched, listened to podcast in the nation too. So, obviously, when you get two people like that together, people are going to show them, and they're at a game, or she's at a game, they're going to show her, right? So, I mean, I don't know if it really affects me like it does some other people. I mean, I think it's probably overran its welcome. I think like the first couple times it's like, oh yeah, cool, Taylor Swift's there, but now it's like, now there's a bunch of people talking about how is she going to get to the Super Bowl because she's got a concert in Tokyo or wherever it's at. And I'm like, well, like in my mind, I'm like, I don't care if she's at the game or not. You know what I mean? Right. So like, it's just, I don't know. I just think it's kind of getting blown out of proportion over the last couple of weeks here, but that's kind of my thoughts on it.
What about when they were showing Eminem for Detroit?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
loved it.
he was throwing the birds up, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yes, he was. Now, if you wanted a good rig or a situation, Eminem and her at the Super Bowl, and that would have been good TV.
That's a good story. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, based on their past.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think.
completely opposite people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man, they'd be. I don't really think I'm with you guys. I didn't have a problem with it. You, Coach Coit, you said the money, the revenue thing, which
Yeah.
I think is great. But the stuff that I've seen like on Facebook, which I find interesting, is people saying, her empowering, women and things like that. Well, everybody knows what she's done as an artist. I mean, I love her. I mean, as an artist, what she's done in the community for her workers, all those things. But it goes back to the NFL. Who's making all the money off of her? The NFL. And you guys go back, you make good points. You both say, it's a business. Well, that's the thing. It's like, she's not really, she's just making them a ton of money. The players aren't making nothing off of it. They don't really reap the benefits by her being there. So, I mean, yeah, it goes back to being a business. I don't have a problem with it. I think everybody knows she's probably one of the most talented artists to ever do what she's done. So I just think it's like, you look at it, it's like, well, yeah, she's making the NFL a ton of money.
Did you just say Taylor Swift is one of the talented artists?
Listen, man, I've always loved her. I listen to her on my iPod when I go to the gym every morning. I don't care what y'all say. I love her. She's great at what she does, but they're just, to me, it's like they're exploiting her. They're just using her, essentially.
Every time there's a reason why they put her on camera. There's a reason why they put her on camera.
Exactly.
And she has no control over it, but I don't know her music well at all, boys. I'll have to admit.
What?
But I don't know her music.
I'm not.
Wow.
Yeah,
I listen. When I was
on the radio all the time.
my last years of teaching at Comanche, I was at the weight room, and certain days I would take requests and have Taylor Swift days to some of the lifters. That's about the only time I would ever listen to it. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't know it. I'm an old guy. I'm a 60-year-old guy. Taylor Swift. I think she's as old as my son Taylor.
Yeah, I think she's like
31. 31, gonna be 32.
Gee,
I believe.
young buck.
Yeah, for sure. All right, staying on some.
Whoops. I think my Taylor's gonna be 31.
31.
He's
Same
probably
age.
mad now. You don't even know my age, Dad. Nope. I'm getting senile. Getting old.
So did you guys watch the Pro Bowl today? Did you
Just a little bit. Who ended up winning? Did NFC or AFC?
NFC won. The NFC, yeah. The AFC had a 4th and goal from like the 5 with 10 seconds left, and my guy Jalen Johnson from the Bears knocked the ball away at the end. So
I didn't watch much.
well, what do you think of the format of it and how they're running it now? You guys like agree with it, or you like it? You don't like it?
It's kind of stupid.
I like it, honestly. Yeah. Well, the first year they did it, I was like, this is kind of stupid, but then I was looking back at how they did the Pro Bowl when they had pads on in football, but it really wasn't football because they had so many weird, like you can only bring like 3 people. You could only, like, they weren't tackling each other. There's so many different rules, and it really wasn't. And I get it. You don't want those guys to get hurt because they're the
because
best
it's
players.
a business.
Right. Well, yeah, but it's all, they're the best players in the NFL. Obviously, you don't want a guy tearing his ACL or, or whatever. But I don't know. I liked all the skills things. The flag football is, I don't know. I thought it was cool. They're still competitive. They're still trying to win. It's not like they're walking out there with their routes. They're running routes hard. They're playing defense. So I don't know. I didn't mind it. It's something different, but
I think it's the best that they can do at this stage of the game. They can't go back to where it used to be because of injuries, because of how people will play against each other. I mean, I think I saw something today where there was an old hit. You guys remember Sean Taylor?
On the punter,
Yeah,
when he hit the punter
he
in the
made
Pro Bowl, right?
yeah, drilled
Yeah.
somebody, saw some hit. I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't go back to that. So it's entertaining the way it is. I mean, you put skilled athletes and let them do whatever the heck they need to do for skills stuff. I mean, it's entertaining as can be that way. They are competitive, like you said. I do wonder, like for the linemen, how much fun it is for them. Like Jason Kelsey, for example.
Well,
Yeah,
they still they had a long snap
Long snap.
competition.
Yeah,
They had the move where they had to move that sled and the weights.
sled. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
They did like an obstacle course with linemen too, so they were doing something. But
yeah, they're doing the best they can for entertainment because it is a business that they got to look after their product. They can't get those guys hurt, basically. So they're doing what they can do. The way it is. What was the final score, like 60 something of the flag football?
Yeah, I think it was like 64-59. But they add
Yeah,
all their
yeah.
they add all the
They add
points
all the-
from their skills
Yeah.
though too. So
Yeah, I didn't watch it too much. Wasn't there something on Thursday night as well? Is that
yeah,
the beginning of it?
They showed some of those, yeah, on Thursday.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah, they're doing what they can. I
Yeah.
mean, it used to be in Hawaii. Remember those days,
Yeah.
guys?
It did.
And so at least they moved it to Orlando so that those people can take their kids to Disney or wherever.
Yeah, sure.
If I'm in a Pro Bowl, I take my family down there. We can do Universal or all that for the week and have some fun that way. So make it a little bit more family oriented for those people that qualify. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Sean
So
Taylor hit, man.
That was awesome when he
Was it in that Pro Bowl? I think it was Peyton Manning was QB for AFC, and he throws the ball to Reggie Wayne, tells him to go over the middle, like a skinny post, and he like stops in the middle of it because Sean Taylor is coming up and he's gonna literally line him up. And he's like, he tells Peyton, he's like mic'd up, and he's like, "What the hell are you trying to throw the ball over me in the middle there?" And he's like, "No." And Sean's coming like up to hit him, and he just like stops in his tracks.
Yeah,
like, dude, that guy was he was a monster.
It's a menace.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. The game has really changed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We talked about how basketball has changed. Well, football has changed dramatically, and it needs to. It needs to. I've got no problem with it going.
Last night they're showing like old Super Bowl highlights on NFL Network, and Knox. That was like the Raiders versus, I remember it was in the 70s, and you wanted to watch it because John Madden was coach, and just watching those highlights of how like those guys could do anything, like there was no rules at all.
There was Raiders. You probably had Jack Tatum with the Stickum on his head, all that, crazy. Yeah, there's some difficult hits.
Yeah,
those people they took some hits back in the 70s, 80s, well, 90s, early 2000s, and now probably 2010 on. It's been, we just became smarter in terms of understanding what happens to you when you have your head hit that many times. How everything has changed. You might see some of those helmets. What's the Guardian helmet that they have nowadays at high school? In practice. I mean, might be something that comes into the game.
Yeah.
Don't NFL teams have to wear those in practice now?
Practice they do for sure. Yeah. But they'll try to make that more of a stylish looking helmet in the future. Yeah. And so that and then try to put that into the actual game. That's probably coming. That type of helmet would make it look a little bit more stylish. I don't know if you can, but there's people that have bigger brains than the three of us going at it and figuring that stuff out.
Maybe you can do that in your retirement, Coach Graham.
Yeah, no, I don't have a big enough brain for that.
And you can make
I'm not smart enough.
Sean Lawrence is talking trash to you. Did you see
that
comment? He said, "All I remember is early '80s Irish basketball versus Command, automatic W."
Well, they did have a better team. I will give him that. But I
Man,
can remember I put up some points against him. I know that. I'll toot my own horn without a 3-point line because we didn't have it back in those days. Everybody, that's how old Sean Lawrence and Dave Grimm are. No 3-point line. I came into high school in 1983. I graduated in 1982.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
you
Just
know,
a few years
Spen-
ago. I was before I was born.
Yeah.
yeah, before I was born too,
There you go, boys.
and
So if
old.
you do the math, everybody, you can figure out how old I am.
One thing we forgot to mention, Stenda, about Coach Grimm is he's in the Comanche Athletic Hall of Fame too. I believe I didn't mention that. That was that last year, Coach, when you got inducted, right?
Yeah, last fall.
Yeah.
Fall. It was a nice honor for
Yeah.
the work that you put in. It was nice of the folks to do that. So I was very very humbled by that. That was nice. A lot of time and effort, and you get rewarded for it. Good stuff.
For sure. Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
Dave Grimm.
Plus, I paid some people some good money. So
Were you on the committee
yeah.
also? You're on the committee.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Hey, I think I should be in there.
Yeah, I think I should be in there.
Then just catching up on the comments quick, then we'll move on here. But Brandon Dierks says he's saying we gotta get rid of the NFL talk,
I saw
or the
that.
manipulation talk. We have to change to conspiracy theories. That'd be a fun podcast too. But
It would be,
Um,
yeah.
and then Chase Grimm,
Chaser, haven't
He
seen
said-
that kid in about 5 weeks.
really? Did you see his comment?
Yeah.
He said that you're the front runner for the new OC at Iowa. OC job at Iowa.
Yeah, that's already been filled, Chase, if you
Yeah.
remember. And
He should know that.
he should actually. I think he's met him already.
Nice.
He got a chance to meet him. So according to a text I think I received. So yeah, Chase is having fun. Good seeing you, Chase. I'm glad I
Good.
can see you.
Yeah.
You
He's
need to
coming.
call your mom and dad more often now.
There you go. Hopefully he's still listening then.
Yeah, probably. I
I
doubt
get
it.
a text.
Nothing from Hamp now. The one that
No.
lives in Milwaukee. He's out on his own.
And then there's Zach Hudson. There's a betting line over under if Kelsey proposes to Taylor Swift if they win it all. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw something about that as well. Yeah, I think
And,
definitely.
Troy Hilgendorf was Jordan Lawrence. Was it Jordan Lawrence requesting Taylor Swift? No, those are girls PE usually does that. But and then Sean Decoit 5.0 40. He didn't listen to the last podcast very well.
I thought it was 4.6.
Yeah, he's making fun of me. He's saying I'm slow. That's what he's doing.
I was thinking more.
If you don't know Sean Lawrence, he's he'll razz anybody if he gets a chance.
5 flats,
Yes,
not
you will.
bad.
Yeah.
5 flats
Oh,
not
No,
bad.
it wasn't a 5 flat though.
That's what Lauren said. So
I'm not so sure what Coach Lawrence probably run a 40 in. He's probably a 4.6 guy. I'll bet his day.
No, Coach Lower, I mean, I don't know what his 40 time was exactly, but I know he said he was like a fullback, middle linebacker. So he always said he wasn't real fast. So I'm not sure what his 40 was, but I know he was a pretty good football player. I know that for a fact,
Gotcha.
but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he's listening or not. He can comment on his 40 time, but
Yeah, well, back in our day, I don't even remember if they did 40
you didn't
times.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you were and tracks were in yards still, weren't even meters. 100 yards, 220, 440, some of that. So they were just making the transition into running 100 meters, 200 meters, that good stuff.
Lauren says you're at a 4.4. That's what
Yeah.
He said he ran a 4.4.
Oh,
He ran a 4.4.
4. Okay.
No way.
I
He's
got
probably
you.
at 4.6, 4, maybe 4.5.5.
Yeah. Stir the pot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You gotta love it.
Mhm.
All
Good
right.
stuff.
We can I was wanting to talk about this also, but I know we talked a little bit about it before we went on air here, but got a little bit of the coaching turnover in the NFL. So like coaches like Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Guys like that aren't going to be coaching next year. It doesn't look like. I know there's some possible DC jobs open that maybe Vrabel could possibly sneak into. I don't think Belichick would ever do that. But what are your guys' thoughts on just the coaching turnover in general in the NFL and how it changes so much over the years?
Well, there's only 32 of them, 32 jobs, and it's the owners, they're the billionaires that they are, they're they're in control, and if you don't win, let's look at Carolina. They they're that guy fires people left and right, and I don't know if it's probably a scary proposition to become the head coach down there, but it's a what have you done for me lately league. You got to win, and if you don't win, the owners say we're going to find somebody else, and it seems to be with this year's hires that they're kind of going towards the younger, the guys that have more of the offensive minded skill sets than some of the people that had more of the defensive mind skill sets, like the Belichick, Vrabel, and Pete Carrolls of the world. So, the game is changing, and that's the way it's going. And a year from now, we could be talking about how they've got somebody, Belichick's back in again, or Vrabel's back in again. But we're going to go this route and see how it goes. But every year, isn't there some stat that you lose at least 5 to 7 head coaches every year, right?
Yeah.
I think out of the 32, something like that. So to have somebody stay in there, like Belichick, for example, 20 some years, that's just probably not going to happen very often. How long has the guy been at the Steelers, Tomlin? How many years has he been there?
17 to be 18 coming up.
Yeah. And there were some rumblings this year
Yeah.
for him, right?
Yeah.
It's just he's a good coach. He does a lot of good things, but there's always going to be rumblings. So, we're not doing this offensively. We need to do that. We need, and then the owners make a decision, and they go from there.
Yep.
So that's my thoughts.
Coach Coy.
Yeah, I agree with Coach Grimm on the statement he said with it's a what have you done for me lately league. I mean, it is mind blowing though that some of these guys they just like Bill. It's crazy that Bill Belichick's not probably going to be coaching in the NFL. It's just hard for me to process because he's been doing it for so long, and I'm just surprised. I know he interviewed for some jobs, and I'm just surprised those teams that he interviewed for didn't go with him. But and I get it. They want maybe a younger guy or someone that is more not as old school, I guess, as he is. But it's crazy how I mean, you have to get in as like an OC or DC, have a good year, and then usually you're getting a taste of a head job and going that route, and you better do well in at least 2 or 3 years or you're going to get canned. So it is crazy to me, and there's going to be a lot of good coaches out there that aren't going to have jobs next year, I think. So
yeah, I mean, I think Belichick, I feel like from what I read about like the Falcons, which was they interviewed him twice, was they just weren't going to give him the control that he had with New England. And I think that was, and again, I think like you have the Mac Jones thing on here. I just, he, like they said, he stopped talking to Mac Jones like week 12 when he benched him, and they didn't talk, for the next 6 weeks. I just don't think that probably meshes with the style of players, the young players you're getting now coming out of the draft, where it worked out. Think about all those years when you had Brady and different players. Coach Grimm, you made the comment earlier about, just kind of like some of those players, like, hey, he could do that with them. I think, back in the day, if he stopped talking to somebody, they're like, shit, I got to pull my shit together. And now they're just like, they whine, they cry to the press. And he just doesn't probably maybe mesh a lot with those younger guys because it's a new era now. But it's hard to say he's not going to be coaching somewhere. I just don't. How do you not take a guy that won 6? I just don't get that. I mean, people should have been following his model for years, and a lot of teams didn't. they should have been following what he was doing. That's how he won 6 titles. So now you would still think, even though he's 72 or 3 years old, like the guy could probably coach until he's 85 years old and still win.
Yeah.
So it's hard to not see him, be on the sidelines, this upcoming year.
He'll probably be in the booth. He'll probably go on TV.
No,
I don't see him as
him and Brady together on Fox.
I don't see Belichick as a TV guy.
No, I don't know, man. He'd be.
Oh, he was great on was it College Game Day and their Navy game?
Yeah,
Navy
I
Army?
seen that, yeah.
He had a little segment where he was pretty good.
Yeah.
McAfee was going crazy for him.
Yeah,
They all loved him. Nah, who knows? I think Brady and Fox deal's going down, right? So he'll have a hard time with who's that Olsen guy?
Yeah.
He does a nice job. They're gonna have a hard time figuring out how that's all gonna play out.
Well, I think isn't Brady the A guy? And now
Yeah.
I read that, and he
Yeah.
hasn't done a game
Yeah.
yet. Which
yeah.
I was Olsen, I'd be a little pissed about that. But
Yeah, Olsen's probably looking to go elsewhere if somebody's wanting him. Who knows?
yeah, that contract's wild too. Brady's was it 300? Was it like 330 mil or something?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
they're using that Taylor Swift revenue, and they're just going.
Yeah, there you go. The rich get richer, I guess. That's what they say, right?
I can't believe we're still talking about Taylor Swift and the NFL. Holy cow!
Yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on from that.
Yeah.
Stinda, do you want to get into tier talk? Our tier talk topics?
Yeah, tier talk. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Coach Graham, we're gonna go this week with top NBA guards. Now you said, Coach Coy, you said they could be guards, shooting guards.
Yeah, I said it can be point guard or shooting guard.
Okay.
I think Coach Grimm just thinking point guard, right, Coach Grimm?
Yeah. I mean, it's just so hard. It's a big, wide topic.
Top guards, but we're doing, for the people listening here, we're doing in our era that we saw play. So, obviously, I didn't really see Magic Johnson play, so he's not on my list. Is why.
Mm-hmm.
And then Coach Graham, I know you've watched a couple of them, but after we do our list, you have to say one word for each list. So when I do mine, I'm done. You say one word to describe your thoughts on my list, and then same for Stinda.
Gotcha.
Who would like to go first?
I think Coach Grimm. I think you gotta go first.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I saw this guy play when I was a kid, but I'm going off of point guards. Okay, so I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. And he's number 3 on my list as a top point guard. He's a guy that you all know, but you probably don't know. He is the logo for the NBA, Jerry West.
Okay.
Jerry West. That's right.
As a point guard.
Uh-huh.
And then my number 2 guy is a guy that you probably know, and all know because of it's in the 2000, it's in the now era. But he's listed as a point guard, but people don't probably think of him as a point guard, and that would be Mr. Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then my number 1 point guard is the best point guard in the 80s and 90s, and that would be Magic Johnson for the LA Lakers.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That's my. So you got 70s, 90s, 80s, 90s, and then you got 2000s and whatever, 10 to 24. What do you call this era? 2020s, 20-teens?
2020s.
2020s, I'd say, yeah.
What was the teens? 20 teens? Yeah.
2000, I don't know. Yeah.
Those are, whether you call them point guards or not, I just went with point guards. Okay. I mean, Michael Jordan, I wouldn't consider a point guard, but I don't know if he's a shooting guard or a small forward or a power forward. Those titles have all changed through the decades.
Yeah.
So that's my list.
All right.
What's your word, Coach Coit?
Interesting.
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
I mean, I think I gotta say, I like the different eras that you chose from, though. So
Yeah.
you've seen more eras than us, so
Yeah, because I'm a lot older than you boys.
Well, I was surprised by Jerry West on there.
Yeah.
I know he was good, but
Yeah.
I never saw him play. But
No, but he's the logo of the NBA.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get it.
It's true.
He's the logo.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that.
I'll say solid. I definitely say solid because I know where you're going with the different eras. So
Yeah.
and they're not like now that they got guys 6'9". Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
All right. Stenda,
Yeah.
you or me? You want me to go?
Yeah, you go.
All right. So, again, I always have a hard time with these lists coming up with 3. I always want to have like a 4th. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do an honorable mention. So like an honorable mention guy. I always want to throw that in there. So I did, it can be a point guard or a shooting guard. I didn't narrow it down to just point guards like Coach Graham. So, and I did this by what they were listed as when they played or what they're listed as now. Like for example, LeBron James is listed as a small forward, so he's not a guard, so he's not on my list. So if anybody out there is wondering why, so my honorable mention is, and he's one of my favorite players of all time, is Allen Iverson. Just grew up watching him in college at Georgetown. Loved him when he was in the NBA. Just, I don't know, just the little guy, and he just had just kind of like a killer mindset too, and is famous for that crossover. He'd get guys on all the time. I think he averaged like 26 points a game in his career. So I mean, he could score. Decent defender, could dish it a little bit, and I loved watching him play. So Allen Iverson would be an honorable mention. My number 3 is Steph Curry. He obviously has kind of, I think, changed the way the game's been played a little bit, especially with like the 3-point shot. He's got 4 rings. I believe it's 4 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Curry got 4.
Four.
He's got 4 rings. He averages 24 points a game. Has the most 3-pointers ever. So he'd be my 3. My number 2 is Kobe Bryant. He's listed as a shooting guard. Kobe was just, again, the Mamba mentality, just a hard nose. I mean, just a dude. I know he took a lot of shots, and that he gets a little bad rap for that because he took so many shots, but he was pretty efficient on those shots, and averaging 27 points a game. Kobe would be my number 2. And he was a great defender too. Kobe was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, by the way. And then when we're talking shooting guards, Michael Jordan's listed as a shooting guard, so he'd be my number 1 guy. Obvious reasons. 6 championships, and we talked about it with the LeBron debate, but 6 championships, 10 scoring titles, 30 points a game. And he's just the greatest player of all time. The other thing, we 6-0 in the NBA finals. I think he averaged like 33 points a game in the playoffs, which is the most ever. And just was the best player ever. So he's number 1. That's my list.
I'm gonna say on point. I mean, because that's what my list is.
Oh, really? Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Wild. What you got, Coach Graham?
2 words. On point. You said 1 word.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, that's right.
I did say 1 word.
On point.
All
I'll
right.
just say stellar. How about stellar?
All right.
I'm going to say impressive.
Okay. No, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, Stenda. That was
No,
your
dude,
list.
because I was thinking about earlier, because kind of what Coach Grimm did, take, the different eras. And I think, Steph's a part of a different era. Let's be honest, he's the best 3-point shooter of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, he's got his handles are out of the, you got to put him in this era. But you go back to the Jordan and Kobe thing. It's just like, they could do so much, and they were such stone cold killers on the court. It's just hard to not have Jordan and Kobe, Jordan 1, Kobe 2 with the championships. Jordan, obviously, again, I think he's just in his own classification. So I will say I like Allen Iverson. I do. I love AI. And I remember him crossing Jordan like in 97. Wasn't it 97?
Yeah, probably around there.
When he was 96 or 97, he crossed him at Philadelphia. I remember watching that game in my basement, and he crossed Jordan. So I mean, he's definitely honorable mention, but
Yeah. I was going back and forth with Iverson and Curry if I was going to have him at 3 but I had to put Curry in there.
Yeah, the dude, I mean, watching that guy shoot, I mean, his range is just crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Mm.
And how many Kobe had 5 rings, right?
5 rings.
5, yeah. So, and then if you're ranking that list in that order, Curry 4, Kobe 5, Jordan 6, but yeah.
Do you have a word for his, by the way? One word?
Oh, for his?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I got a word. Copycat.
Yes, whatever. You know, so
word.
I tried to let him go first, and then now I'm getting dogged on for that, man.
I'm glad you let me go first. Appreciate that.
Yeah. All good, clean fun.
There's some honorable mentions. So Shane, my brother, said Tracy McGrady. He was
Okay.
Yeah, because he had the championships that he's had down in Houston. The other shooting guard Robert Ory, he was another one. Championships. I mean,
Yeah.
this is so hard to go. That's why I try to say point guard, because like
Yeah.
you guys, your list, shooting guard, those 3 might be 3 of the best NBA players,
right.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Up there with LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron could be in there as well. It's so tough the way the game's played, and I was hoping you were going to do something like the guys that have the most trash talk in the NBA. That would have been nice. Larry Bird would have been my top number 1.
Larry Bird. There's some great stories out there on Larry Bird.
If people want to go down a little hole, Larry Bird, if you got some time on YouTube, he was one of the worst trash talkers in the NBA, but he could back it up.
Yeah.
And Larry Bird.
How about who was Reggie Miller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was trash talker.
Mm-hmm.
What's the thing? He tried to trash talk Jordan once, and Jordan said, "You don't talk trash to Black Jesus."
Yes.
I think that's what it was. And Reggie says that in his podcast. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yep." And I never again did I ever say talk trash to Jordan ever again.
Yeah.
Reggie could shoot it though.
Yes, he could. Yes, he could. There's just so many good players. So many. That's why it's tough to compare eras. It's tough to say who's the best. I mean, there's a generation out there that think Will Chamberlain's the best. Bill Russell's the best.
Right.
There's a generation of people out there that would say that.
Well, Bill Russell won 11 NBA championships. I mean,
you go through Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's a lot of names out there.
Wilt might have been like the most dominant player.
I think they stopped dunking. You couldn't dunk because of him in the NBA. Had a little window a year or 2 there where they stopped the dunk.
Do you imagine that right now? No dunking in the NBA.
Layups only.
Layups only.
How boring would that be?
Yeah. So, interesting game. Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to wrap up the episode here, Stenda, or you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think we got through everything. So
yeah,
good.
We will say for those that are still on, we will not have an episode next week due to the Super Bowl. So we'll be off next week, but we'll come back the following week with another guest there. But yeah, I just want to thank Coach Grimm for jumping on with us tonight and coming off of the beach to join us from the Gulf Shores. So thanks, Coach Grimm. Hopefully everyone had a good time again, and hopefully you join us in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And yeah, Coach Grimm, before you go, I just want to say, and I know we talked a little bit beforehand, but when you hired me in 2009, I think that was my first coaching job ever. I was only 19, 20. And
you're a young kid.
There's a lot of people that cross paths was, I mean, you did a lot for me when I was coaching there. And I thank you for that, because that carried on when I coached, I was in law enforcement and stayed doing it. I saw what you had to do as an athletic director and then be a coach. That first year we were together, you were AD and coach. I know what you had to deal with the parents, with the kids, with the teachers. And I don't know how you did it, and I think, I mean, the balance that you had there, you always had the coaches back, but you were somehow able to balance those duties. And to me, those two duties that's tough to do, whether you're in a big school or a small school. But you did a lot, I've talked with Taylor a lot. You did a lot for me in that time because I was trying to figure things out. So, I credit a lot of even success down the road, because I had people like you that were mentors at a young age where, you have different directions you can go. So I think, you were definitely one of the top 2 best supervisors or bosses I ever had. So
Whoa.
I
Oh, wow.
appreciate everything you did for me. I remember those things, even if it was 15 years ago, it goes a long way. So.
Well, I appreciate that, and you're very welcome. And that is the reason that I got into education. And I'm hoping that there are other people out there in the world that I have impacted similarly, so that they, can realize that we're just trying to help you along in the way, the road of life here, and put you on a path that you hopefully get yourself into something successfully. And obviously you have, but I appreciate it. And then along the way, like I said earlier, you have a lot of fun because you're dealing with sports. I think sports are unifying to a lot of people in the world. It's the one thing that, even if you're not a sports person, let's look next Sunday. We're not going to be on your podcast because a lot of people are going to be watching the Super Bowl, whether they care about football or not. Sports bring people together. So it's one of those things I was just glad to be a part of, and you're very welcome. And I thank you for putting me on this, and appreciate all the good times we had together, and look for some more. But not like I'm going to be dead here. I'm going to still be around.
That's right. Come back on anytime you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you again.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach Graham.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later. Take care.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too.